to Liberia today. My name is Edward Tamba. We'd like to welcome you back to the show. Today we're talking about information, whether the disinformation, misinformation. Someone who has vast knowledge about those things is here this morning. He's a media practitioner himself, but he decided to specialize. He decided to focus his attention on educating the public about these vices in the information sector, misinformation, disinformation. I know he talked a little bit more also about malinformation, but he's the expert in it. So, he's the executive director for the group called itself Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation. So he's a campaigner in chief against those vices. Mr. Taweh Johnson is my guest. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Edward. Great to be back.
Always a pleasure talking to you. For us in the media, we always love to talk about information because it is powerful, but also once it is misused, it becomes, for the lack of better words, useless and chaotic and destructive to the society. Tell us about your organization first. What is Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation?
Thank you again, Edward. Let me greet all of the viewers. Good morning. Great to be on Liberia today on LNTV. Thank you again for this precious opportunity. I'm Taweh Johnson. I am the founder and executive director of Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation in Liberia. This is a registered non-profit improving community resilience to false information. False information threatens our peace, it threatens our democracy, it threatens our health, it threatens our education. So this is why we have to approach false information with all of what we have in countering it. False information is deadly. It kills. False information. So we are improving community resilience to false information at Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation. We got established in September 2022.
Wow.
So I'm pleased to inform all of the viewers that we celebrate 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years in operation. And this for us is a milestone because we've observed over the time that most organizations and NGOs really don't operate without any grant for 3 years. For us, since we got established, we haven't had any grant to do what we have done.
You don't need it?
Not that we don't need it, we do need it to enhance our work. What we now have, we are grateful to the National Democratic Institute for giving us a donation. They gave us few computers and office furniture. We are grateful for that, but we have not had any grant to do what we do. But Edward, this does not discourage us. This is our country. We will use our meager resources to empower people on how to verify information, because we know what false information can do. It is deadly. It can cause chaos. It causes violence. It causes instability. And we don't want this. This is why our intervention is empowering the public on how they themselves can take responsibility to verify information. So we do this through media and digital literacy. That's one of our main programs at Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation. Okay. We also do information research. We do disability inclusion. The reason we do disability inclusion is because these are people who are very dear to us and we can't push them away. They have a say in decision making in Liberia. Most often people don't include people with disabilities in national decision making processes. But for us, we are very interested in having them at most of our initiatives. So what we have done over the period is to give visibility to the deaf and hard of hearing. We've also given visibility to visually impaired and physically challenged. Besides, we have other programs at Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation. Now, let me focus on the media and digital literacy initiative. So just this year, I'm not going back to previous years because we've done a lot. So what we've done this year, we began this year by hosting a media and digital literacy initiative in Kakata, Makibi County. So that was intended for CSOs. So we gathered CSOs at the Kakata Intellectual Forum in Kakata, Makibi County, and we empowered them with media and digital literacy skills on how they themselves can verify information. What we've also done is we've also organized a media and digital literacy training for marketeers.
Okay.
These people are target for criminals. People always want to scam them. So what we did was we decided to, teach them skills, media and digital literacy skills, to prevent them from falling victims to scammers and people who want to steal from them, criminals. So that initiative prevented marketeers from digital fraud and online fraud. You remember back in 2023, there was an online scam called Smart AI. Many people got affected. People lost their money. They didn't get their money back. And, many marketeers, people with disabilities who were in bombing, and many people expressed the same concern to me that even in bombing too, people were affected. So our organization, we decided, we say, okay, since we don't want this to reoccur, we will have this training for marketeers. So now we are calling on our partners because we want to have more of this, right? We want to go to other markets because we're at Firma Market. So now we want to go to Pinsville Market. We want to go to Red Lab Market. We want to go to what's the name of Raleigh Town Market and other major markets in Liberia, so that people there too can get the skills. At that training, we brought in people with disabilities too, to also get empowered because they also do businesses.
Sure.
So we took people with disabilities from 12th Street. That's where they gather. Most of them are doing small businesses. So we took them from there, and then we took some marketeers from Firma Market, gathered them and empowered them. Besides that, what we have also done is to train language translators.
Okay.
Combating false information is not only in English. It's not only for English speakers. There are people in Liberia who only speak English. How about people who in Lofa County? How about people who in Nimba County or
who don't
River
speak English at all?
They don't understand the English language. They understand their local language. How do you communicate with them regarding the danger of false information? They don't. If you speak English to them, they don't understand. So our approach was, we gathered in partnership with Letralo. We gathered over 15 language translators, and we passed on relevant skills regarding media and digital literacy to them. And now I'm happy to inform you that these in fact, most of them, it was their first time for them to understand the difference between misinformation and disinformation. Our organization did that. And besides, we also taught them digital tools. Most of these elderly people really are not familiar. They have the smartphones, but they really don't know how to use it.
When they use it to call.
Exactly. So we showed them digital apps they can use free of charge to verify links and verify telephone numbers and all of that.
Okay. But thank you so much for the inception of this conversation, because I know that this database is already of what some of the activities you've been through, what are some of the things you're doing. I was tempted to ask you, what kind of work do you do? How do you do your work to paint that picture for me? Because if you say, combating disinformation, misinformation in Liberia, how do you do that? How do you combat that? I know you do that through training, through workshops, and you just talk about collaborating with the Trello to also do that in local languages, and of course online fraud as well. But in practice, how difficult it is to do your work?
Well, the major challenge we have is when the false information is already out, it becomes very challenging, because when a false information is spread, the number of people that false information might reach when the right information is provided, all those people who got that false information will not see the correct information. They just went with the false information. So that is the major challenge we have. So our approach is, okay, if we can empower citizens themselves, if they see anything on Facebook, they don't need to wait any longer. But how do they, if they see a manipulated image on Facebook, do they just believe that this person, the person who is claiming, you know, this person is this or X or B, how can they verify it for themselves? Instead of them, you know, saying, oh yeah, that's true, let me share it with my friend, right? Manipulated content, fabricated content, how they themselves can take responsibility. If you do that, you are preventing the spread of false information, Edward. That's what citizens need at this moment, because when they have the skills, it prevents the spread. And this is our approach. So we are empowering them. We are not, you know, sitting back, but we are going out, reaching different groups. I'm happy to inform you that we've impacted students also, because, you know, they are the ones who really have
I just about to ask you about your interaction with campuses.
Multiple social media accounts. Yeah, so most of them have it, but the missing link is they don't have the skills to verify information. Most of them now have turned to content creation. How do they make sure that the information they're providing is an accurate information, is reliable? And now the social media platform now is mainly focused on incentives. You know, people are more interested in getting views and getting likes and getting reactions, regardless of whether the information is true or not. So this is where we are. So we as an organization, campaigners against misinformation and disinformation, we are relentless. We are going all out to make sure we reach all groups in society, empowering them with the skills. We don't have the logistical means now, but in 3 years we have presence in Margibi, Bomi, and Monserrado. These are the 3 countries we don't have any logistical means. We don't have any grant. So Edward, imagine if we had, you know, logistical means, but now we have covered the entire country.
And I'm glad that you also include, or you are including, you know, vulnerable communities like the disabled, the young people, women and children as well into, but particularly the disabled, because they are vulnerable. No disrespect to them. I love disabled. They are very resilient community, but most often they are seen as the weaker vessel in our society. People want to manipulate them because of their conditions and get the best out of them. How do you make sure that you get them included, that, you know, you insist on informing them about misinformation and disinformation, that they are not swayed away, they are not manipulated?
So we take a deliberate approach. When we are organizing our initiatives, we have, because there are people who work with us, volunteers, we make sure that our sign language interpreter, he makes sure that he reaches out to people with disabilities, particularly because for us, you know, for too long the deaf and hard of hearing have been neglected in Liberia. You know, most often when people talk about disability, they only focus on visually impaired, physically challenged. That's it. But how about the deaf? So our approach is, even though we are not leaving out the physically challenged and the visually impaired, but we are including the deaf. So we make sure we reach out to them, we inform them, we tell them, we scout people who are, you know, in, like take for instance, we're having training for marketeers. We had to target those who are doing businesses. So we had to go to where they are. So we went there and we informed them, okay, this is what we are having. Do you have interest? And then we scout them. So this is what we do. So we include them in what we are having, because they are vulnerable to false information. And we can't leave them out. If we leave them out, the problem worsens, because for him, he really, take for instance the deaf. When the new money was introduced, right? What happened? The deaf, we had an engagement, but that was another organization. And we had an engagement with them. It was through my intervention that initiative was held. We had an engagement with the deaf. And they said, oh, but our first thing, we can just see the money, but we not even know the future. Nobody now come to us to tell, you can imagine. So it tells you that these people don't go to them, people don't reach out to them. Most often they just reach out to visual. So for us, we are including them. So we make a deliberate effort to reach to them, to inform them about our initiatives. We are also part of the various chat rooms. We pass on when we have any initiatives, we send the information there so that those who are interested can get to us. So that's what we do.
Okay. But Mr. Johnson, remind us, I know we're talking about misinformation, disinformation. Remind us what those two terms mean.
The two terms? Good. Misinformation, disinformation. You know, most people can get misinformation, disinformation, but they don't understand the meaning. So misinformation is a false information, but the person who giving that information thinks that information is true. That one is that misinformation. Disinformation is also a false information, but the person who is giving the information knows that the information is a false information, but they still go ahead and give it. That one is that disinformation. So I always like to give this example. So let me give it again, Edward, so that people can have a clear picture of what misinformation and disinformation is. So Edward, you are the head of the class, the president. I say, I'm the teacher. I say, Edward, go and inform the class. Tell the class, hey, there will be no class here on Tuesday. But you heard it as Thursday. You know, Tuesday and Thursday can sound almost the same. So you went and informed the class, hey, the teacher said we should not come here on Thursday. How you call that one? You didn't mean to say Thursday, because that's how you understood it. You thought the information you were giving
that's misinformation.
That one era misinformation. So, but I told you now, in the other scenario, I told you, I said, Edward, go and inform the students not to come here on Friday. But you, because you already have a program plan, for Friday, then you say, but if I tell these people not to come here on Friday, it means our program will not be held. So what I will do, I will go and tell them to come on Friday. So you go back to your students, you tell them, look, you got to come to school on Friday. If you don't come, we'll take down the final attendance. If you are absent, you'll be affected. Everybody comes on Friday. When they come, you say, oh, and then now, because you already have your program plan, they tell your students to come in. When they come in, you'll have the program. How you call that one there?
Okay.
Because you have an objective, right? The teacher say you must tell them not to come on Friday. But because you had an objective, so you went and told them, to come. Because you had an objective, but you passed on false information. But because you had an objective and you knew the information you were providing was a false information, so you went ahead and gave it. I wanted that. Clear disinformation.
Let's talk about the harm, the intentions in relating those information, the dis and the misinformation.
So the harm. So from the beginning I said false information threatens our peace, it threatens our security, it threatens our livelihood, it threatens our health. Everything is tied on information. Information is the currency of democracy. And when it's manipulated, it causes big problems. Problems that we cannot easily handle. That's why we have to be cautious with how we consume information, with how we approach information. It's very key, because when we joke with information, when we say something that is not true, you can imagine what will happen if we say something that on this television. If it's not true, you know what happened, Nana? You know how many people view it? They will tell the information the wrong way. Oh yeah, we heard it on LNTV. Yes, you can imagine that is still radio or still television. So you see what will happen. So we have to. The message that we are sending out now is, my people, when you come across an information, please make sure that information you have is correct. How do you make sure it's correct? Make sure you consult at most 3 reliable sources. Don't just hear they say. You go, you carry they say too. They say is a major contributor to false information in the country. Because most people don't attribute reliable sources. They just hear they say. Nobody. Who did they say? They can't talk. So we are telling you, look for 3 reliable and trusted sources. Look for media institutions, reliable and credible media institutions. Look at expert reports. And those are some of the ways you can verify information so that people can say something to you. You get wrong with it. You got my point. Eh?
Okay, let's talk about digital fraud, because this one for they enlighten those who go to schools. They got something they call phishing. How is that a disinformation and a misinformation?
So phishing is when someone wants to take an information from you. So take for instance, someone will send you a link.
Yeah.
And say this link here, that Facebook link. But when you hover on the link, you will see different direction it's sending you to maybe ESPN. You got my point? So sometimes people will fool you. You will see the link, look at the Facebook link, but it's not good to just click that link. That's why we are telling the public, those are all tricks we teach, and we show people during our engagement. We tell them that one it relates to cybersecurity, but cybersecurity too has to do with information integrity. It also links, right? So when you hover on the link, you will see the direction you go in. It's not to Facebook you go in, but you see different direction it's sending you to, maybe ESPN or something. So all those things, and those are strategies you need to learn so that you don't fall victim. Because sometimes when you go to that kind of link, there's a possibility for them to either hack your page or steal your information, and who knows, before you look, you might be a victim of false information.
Okay. If you just join us, this is Liberia Today on the Liberia National Television. Taweh Johnson is my guest, and he's the campaigner-in-chief or the executive director and founder of the Campaigners Against Dis and Misinformation in Liberia. He's explaining to us what his organization has been able to do to achieve to combat this and misinformation, and what the terms themselves are and how harmful they are if they are wrongly, if the information is wrongly or falsely spoken up to the public. So he's here this morning. We'll open up the lines to make your contributions on the show this morning. But Taweh, I want to take you back to your organization before we talk about the conference that ended in Cape Verde. You celebrated 3 years of existence. I mean, it is short, but it is a milestone. Like you said, not many persons, not many organizations have lasted after their anniversary, their first anniversary. You've gone 3 years without physical, consistent external support. Tell us about that resilience first, and then what do we expect to see from you in the 3rd anniversary?
Yes, so 3 years. 3 years, it has not been all rosy. It has been challenging but rewarding. So what we have done for us, what we have at Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation Liberia is the drive. When you have the drive to do something, you put your all into it and do it regardless of whether you have the support or not. For us, the issue of false information is not about if we have the support or not. It's something that we have to address. We have to do it. We have to do all we can. And this is, some people can say, oh, that their business. No. False information is everybody's business. All of us have to get involved. Confronting it. And, this is something we have to take very, very seriously. So we have to drive, and the drive has been keeping us, to do the work we are doing. And we will continue, and we are relentless. Now, we are not just 3 years, but in 3 years we have done a lot, and we have been able to join other networks. Let me inform you that in 3 years, Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation is now a member of the UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Alliance. Okay. This is a global alliance also fostering media and information literacy, talking about addressing the same issue of misinformation and disinformation, giving people skills to critically examine information and to responsibly consume information. Besides, Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation is also part of the Global Democracy Coalition. This is a coalition fostering democracy, championing democracy. Misinformation and disinformation, earlier I said, it threatens democracy. So this is why we are part of this coalition to empower citizens, because if we do not address misinformation and disinformation, it threatens our democratic processes. And then what happens? chaos erupts. So this is why we are part of that coalition. Besides, Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation is also a member of the Alliance on Disability in Liberia. This is an alliance, a local alliance, also promoting the rights of people with disabilities in Liberia, and also making sure that the government of Liberia live up to the implementation of the UNCRPD, the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So we are part of these networks. These networks, we are part of them. It's not we are there to be able to strengthen our work and also build forces, because here's the thing. If you are part of a network, you can share best practices, you share lessons learned, you share resources, and it also helps, enhance your work in Liberia. And we are grateful to be part of these networks. Yeah.
Are there differences or difference and similarities or similarity between fake and false information?
Fake and false information. So fake and false information. So false information. So take for instance, fake can be manipulated content. So take for instance, let me give you an example. You see a picture on the internet, and maybe it's Edward Tama, but the person took Edward's head off and placed my head there.
Okay.
That's a manipulated content.
That's
fake content.
Okay.
A false content is something that you did not see, and someone went ahead and said, this is what Edward said.
Okay.
False information. So that's just the difference between fake and false. Yeah, you see AI now, artificial intelligence. Let me just put this in. Artificial intelligence now is even making it harder for people to verify information. I'm sure you now see on the internet, you can see some people, you see our former president dancing, then somebody boxing him, all that kind of thing. That one that the work of AI there. So AI is very powerful in spreading false information. So you were asking, what's our next approach? Our next approach now is to focus on AI, to do more trainings on artificial intelligence, because people don't know about AI. So how can we inform the public about AI? How can we tell them, okay, how can you distinguish between the video here, whether it's a fake video from the real video? Many things came out before our elections, like false information. You saw a journalist. They can use trusted voices. They use one journalist from EFBC, a former journalist, and reporting saying that the president now has the president now has an app.
They use
the former president. Oh, they use you. Yes, I saw you too.
Yeah, they use me too.
You can imagine. So these are trusted voices they can use.
Yeah, they use me too.
Because when people see you, they say, "Oh, but we know that man. Yeah. We believe him." Yeah.
They use me. They use Zokwe.
Zokwe.
So yeah.
They even use Mr. Hassan Kiawo.
Yeah.
They use it. So they look for trusted voices. Yeah, let's find people who, when people see, they say, "Oh, but actually, the man holding on television, so we believe him." So they use the journalists to say, okay, former president we are now has an app that is improving the lives of Liberians. Can you imagine?
Money, yeah.
And you see it? So all kinds of things. So for people, we gotta be careful. Not just anything we see now, because AI is very powerful. You know what the AI doing now? AI is making false information to appear real. That's what AI can do. So that while we are here to give you the skills, how you can detect this, whether this video is an AI generated content or not. So that is it.
Okay. So basically what you do is you teach them how to verify contents on social media. What resources does anyone need to verify? What kind of app or apps do anyone need or people need to verify this kind of information on social media?
So there are many. So let me give few. So the first one, and I will give free tools where you don't have to pay money, because when you put money in something, they say but we don't even get money to buy data, then we can't get money for app.
Yeah.
So what they call they call it Google reverse image search.
Okay.
That one there.
Already done.
Yeah, Google reverse image search. How do you go there? Reverse is REVERSE. Reverse
image search.
Google reverse image search. So when you go there, that one there, you go to Google. When you go to Google, just type. So you go to Google, then I hope our technical people, can maybe illustrate what I'm saying here. When you go to Google, you go, the first thing you need to do is when you come across an image on the internet, on Facebook or on other social media, what you need to do is you download the image, because sometimes you know what some people can do? They can take certain picture that took place in Cape Verde. Something that happened in Cape Verde, they will take it, copy it, they download it, then they put it on Facebook. They say that librarian. Easy how the people treating librarians. So how do you now, with that caption on that picture there, the thing you need to do is to verify whether this incident took place in Liberia or not. You need to copy that, download the image. When you download the image, then you go to Google reverse image search. Beside it, they have a camera icon. When you click that camera icon, then you will upload. They will instruct you now to upload that image. When you upload that image, then you click. You say search image. When you search the image now, then it will tell you, okay, all the time that the image has appeared on the internet, it will be bringing it. Then you will know information whether this was in Cape Verde or it was in Liberia. But if it was not in Liberia, nothing about Liberia on that image will be there. That's how you can do it. You can also use that same Google reverse image search to authenticate manipulated image. Whether, because some people can, like I said, they will remove your head, put another person here, they say that the man. So you can use that same Google reverse image search to authenticate who is this person. Then they pick the image. If that image has appeared on the internet, they will tell you.
Does that happen for video as well?
Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to take a screenshot of the video. Then you can use that screenshot and follow the same process. And then we'll link you now. Okay, this video here, maybe you can find it here. Then we'll give you a link to that video, how you can do it too. Besides, they also have CAMDL. You know what this CAMDL can do? CAMDL is used to authenticate digital identities. So take for instance like telephone numbers, like links, like websites, addresses. It can help you. So most of the time people can send us WhatsApp messages. They say click the link here, press it. Just back will give you data. Click the link here, you get file. Click all the kind of things. Most of the time it can be correct information. So we are saying don't click it. When they send you the link, don't click it. Copy the link and go to CAMDL. It's SCAMDOC. All one word. SCAMDOC. CAMDL. When you go to CAMDL, then CAMDL will ask you, say, okay, which one you want to do? You want to verify telephone number, you want to verify link, or you want to verify address. So the link that you copy, there's a search box down. You paste that link into the search box. Then you say analyze link. When you analyze the link, now then it will tell you, it will give you it will tell you exactly whether this can be trusted or not, like the trust level. So now it will count in 2% red. Tinjo, when you're going, when you're going 2% red, be skeptical. Yeah, because they got a link there. When you put your information there, people can use it against you. Yeah, when the trust level, when you see it in green, 2 check mark, have small trust, but don't just believe it. Like, do further investigation, right? So how you can also use thin eye. Thin eye too is for information, searching for information. Somebody say there's something happening, or somebody said this. You can take that, copy that same information and check in thin eye. So these are all free apps you can use.
Does it also happen to emails?
It does. Like I said, you can also verify email addresses. You can use emails, websites, and all of that. So you see how people can scam people again. Sometimes you know how it can happen. Like it can happen with a website name. And you will see like BBC. Most people trust BBC. Sometimes the person who won't fool you now, they will take something close to BBC website address, but at the end it will be different. Maybe it will be _. When you go there now, you will see everything located at BBC, but when you're not careful and you not look at the website address clearly, you will be misled. Then you say, oh, but the BBC reporting, but the BBC, then you trust it. So you gotta be careful, my people. Another thing I want to tell the people, most people can mistake duplication for verification. What I'm saying now is, most people when they see something on Facebook, they see something on Instagram, they see something on TikTok, they think are true. The same thing, like when you see on Facebook, you see the same thing on TikTok, you see the same thing on Instagram, they think are true. So that what we say duplication is not verification. When you see something, they
multiple times,
exactly,
it
doesn't mean it's true. Because most people, as soon as they see it everywhere, they say, oh, but they think are true. No, you got to make sure at least you consult 3 reliable and credible sources.
And people also need to know that, like you mentioned earlier, now people are monetizing their pages, their websites, their accounts. So most of the things that are on social media might not be possibly true, but because the person wants money to create views and comments and likes and resources, so that they post it all over. So like that, many persons will comment, many persons will post, many persons will share, but they are just doing it for their own benefit.
So they do it for engagement, they do it for monetization, because you know, for us now, even though we are not part of the countries that are monetized, but you will pay a blogger to post on information, you give him something, so he doesn't care whether it's true or not. All he needs is what he will get in return.
Let's talk about the conference that was held in Cape Verde. Is information integrity?
Yes, is the conference on information integrity in West Africa and the Sahel. Now this is the conference, if you look on the screen there. Now that conference was held in Praia, Cabo Verde. You know, the name was changed. You know, most people when you hear Cabo Verde, they get confused, but it's Cape Verde, but that name was changed. So now they use Cabo Verde in official during official communication
because of that language.
Yes, Cabo Verde. So it was held in Praia, Cabo Verde from the 3rd to the 5th of September. I was selected to participate. I represented campaigners against misinformation and disinformation in Liberia. So UNESCO, we are grateful to UNESCO and CFImedias, the French and Media Development Agency, for their sponsorship, because they enabled us to go and they were responsible for our lodging and all of that. So we are grateful to them. So the conference, it was a big conference. The special representative for the United Nations Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel, Mr. Leonardo Santos Samao, was there. We also had Mr. Jafik Julasi. He's the Assistant General for UNESCO Communication and Information. So it was a charged conference. We also had the Government of Cabo Verde, Foreign Affairs Minister, and other dignitaries in attendance. And let me also state that I was not the only person from Liberia who attended the conference. We also had government representation. The Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs, Daniel Sando, represented the government there at the Ministry of Information. We also had a representative from the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications, from Mongoso, and then from the IIC, the Executive Director. She represented. So I was not the only one. Now, I want to talk about the outcomes of the conference, because this is the most significant. You know, we were there for 3 days and the conference. Now, the outcome, the first thing is, the reason why this conference was held is because if you look across the region, the West African region and the Sahel, most of the countries have fragmented approach in responding, regarding information integrity. Most have FOI law, the Freedom of Information Law, give citizens the right to access information. Most countries have it. They have cyber laws. Nigeria, Sierra Leone also got cyber laws in other countries. Fragmented, but there's no policy regarding information integrity. No policy highlights information integrity. So the major reason this conference was held was to have an adapted model policy for information integrity for West Africa and the Sahel. And let me also inform you that Liberia is one of the countries that has adopted the model policy for information integrity in West Africa and the Sahel.
I'm a bit skeptical, because most of the mis and the disinformation, or the false and fake information that circulate, are on social media. In fact, more than close to 100%, 99.9% of those information are on social media. These days, maybe just 1% will hear say and they say, but bulk of it is on social media. How do you, do you frame a policy to control or to make sure that this information are relevant and are not harmful when they are on social media, when social media is being controlled by Africa?
Now, so the policy, the adopted policy for information integrity for West Africa and Sahel highlights platform governance.
Okay.
So platform governance has to do with digital platforms. How do we work with them?
Okay.
The issue we raise with incentives, because now the digital platforms promote information, sensational information, violent information.
Whether true or not. Just to get comments and likes.
It goes viral. When most people are reacting, it goes.
Contacting
exactly,
Facebook, TikTok,
exactly,
Instagrams, and all of that.
Most definitely.
Okay.
So the policy addresses that platform governance. That's just one of the things the policy addresses. Now, why is this significant for Liberia? It's significant for Liberia because at the moment Liberia does not have a national information integrity policy. The government does not have one. So this adapted model policy for information integrity will be used now to craft so that the government here, along with other stakeholders, can craft like the national information integrity policy for Liberia. And at Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation, we have committed ourselves to collaborate with the government of Liberia and other stakeholders, fact checkers, media and information literacy professionals, people with disabilities and other stakeholders, so that we can craft this policy that fits our context, because this is just a model policy, but it guides how we develop our own policy. But it should be based on human rights, it should be based on accountability, it should be based on transparency. So that why it should be, because that policy, that model policy, focuses on, it highlights human rights. Yeah, because sometimes some people can misinterpret when somebody express themselves, they say that false information or that disinformation.
I want to play the devil's advocate here. How do we balance? In as much we want to have information integrity, we want to make sure that governance platform is putting the policy and implemented. But how do we balance the fact that people have the right to information and also being responsible for what they put out? I know that's our constitution, it's not the constitution of every country around the world, but how do we balance those two?
The access to information,
the right to information, and the responsibility that you carry or that you hold for the information you put out.
Well, it all comes down to awareness and sensitization. Most people have a smartphone, they are on social media, but they don't have that sense of responsibility as to when I'm posting something, I need to be cautious that, okay, whatever I'm posting is correct and it's truthful. Most people don't have that awareness. So what we need to do now is to create a sense sensitization and awareness that even though you have the right to information, but you also have a responsibility to make sure the information you are providing is accurate, is truthful, is reliable. That one, we haven't really observed that part yet. But you have the right, but when you have a right, you also have a responsibility, and most people are not enlightened on that part. So the need for sensitization, awareness, and all of that surrounding our rights and our responsibility, because the adaptive model policy for information integrity also, the universal the human rights declaration universal access. Yeah. So it also focuses on that, right? It also focuses on other conventions and protocols, international conventions and protocols. It also focuses on the United Nations global principles for information integrity. I was making mention of the universal access for human rights and all of that, the convention. So all of that, it focuses on it, right? So this policy is not just exempted. It includes human rights, it includes accountability, it includes transparency. Yeah.
But our time is fast spent, and I want to thank you for taking up your time this morning to come on the show. But finally, just tell us how important it is that we, if I say we, everyone, including those in Liberia and out, we take key cognizance of what we see and what we pull out on social media or what we spray out ourselves physically. How important it is to be very careful with this and misinformation.
So before I also say that, let me also say this. You know, the model policy for information integrity in West Africa and the Sahel, there are core principles. Campaigners against misinformation and disinformation had been meeting those core principles even before the adoption of the model policy in Praia. So one of the core principles focuses on societal resilience, societal trust and resilience. We have been doing that. We have been empowering citizens, building and strengthening their resilience to false information. Besides, it also focuses on public empowerment, right? We have also been doing that. We have been organizing initiatives, media and digital literacy, also enabling people with disabilities and all of that. It also focuses on linguistic inclusion. We have also been doing that. The engagement we had with language translators, we also did that. We brought in people from different backgrounds who speak different languages. We also did that. So we have been meeting these core principles for information integrity even before the adoption of the model policy. And then regarding your question, what can people do regarding false information? Now, here's what I want to leave with the entire public. Don't be in rush to share information. You got my point? Most people, when they see an information, they just want to rush and just share it, regardless of whether it's true or not. Once you are in rush to share an information, you know what it does? It impedes your critical thinking, because our emotions, when you see an information that makes you feel sad, makes you feel anxious, you just want to share it quick. So our approach to our information to the public now is don't allow your information to overwhelm you. And before you share any information, make sure the information you share is correct before you share it. So that my people, thank you again for the time. Thanks to you, Edward. Thanks to the management of LNTV for giving us this precious opportunity. We are very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Ibra. Today we take a break and we'll be back Monday. Today is Friday. So taking our usual weekend break to be back here on Monday with another edition until we have that opportunity by the grace of God to be back. Do have yourself a wonderful weekend from Painesville. Bye-bye.